Welcome to the all-new Paranormal Radio.
Don't go by the book. Think like a pirate.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Death has come to town.
And now for something completely different.
Amazing act. Here's a tremendous act. Here's a startling act. The amazing, the thrilling, the greatest, spectacular, incredible, exciting, wonderful, world famed, most unusual novelty act.
It's always a party.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome aboard the haunted ship of doom. Now prepare for those two lunatics, Chris and Wayne.
That's where the evil spirits dwell.
In the beginning, there was the first Paranormal Roundtable. Today, the Chris and Wayne Show brings you the largest gathering of paranormal teams on a single radio show ever. Now sit back and relax as the mayhem begins. And welcome to the Paranormal Roundtable, Part 2.
Welcome to the Chris and Wayne Show. Today be Talk Like
That's
a Pirate.
That's your paranormal news. And I'm Todd.
And Chris has already started messing up with the audio.
You go into auto, DJ, man. It just happens that way.
So welcome, everybody, to the second Paranormal Roundtable. It's not annual. It's quarterly. So we had one a few months ago, which was awesome. We decided to do it again. I want to give a shout-out to the Mad Mexican tonight. He's probably not in chat room. He's actually here in person. And we are at his house. We docked the haunted ship of doom right outside. So, with that,
I gotta say, you know what it's like trying to get a ship down I-94 and all the way here docked at Dearborn on Outer Drive?
It was quite difficult.
It was difficult. The cops stopped us every step of the way. It was amazing. And then finally, if it wasn't for the Coast Guard, we would have been hosed.
I liked how the Kraken whipped him with one of her tentacles.
Yeah, well,
she got tentacles right.
Tentacles.
Yes.
You didn't say testicles this time. Amazing.
I'm sorry. Yes, I did say it right.
Wow, this is kind of confusing, Chris, having to share this microphone.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't worry, I just won't pass it to you when it's your time to talk. Well, with that, I'd like to thank everybody, all of our teams that are here with us tonight. We have a lot of them. We have Haunt Investigators of Michigan. We have PE Paranormal. We have Spirit World Paranormal Investigations. Portal Paranormal Society. 313 Paranormal Society, Downriver Paranormal Investigators, Grimstone Inc. Paranormal Investigators, MPI, Metro Paranormal Investigators, and we have the lovely, talented Christy Robinette here with us tonight.
Which, by the way, Christy, we'll talk a little bit about later about what we're doing next week with you.
Chuck's here, too.
And Chuck.
Always the second note.
We have the lovely Mally Fox from Paranormal Girls here with us.
Woohoo!
We have D-Town Paranormal. We have Martyr Paranormal Research Team, Into the Afterlife Paranormal, Michigan State Paranormal Investigators, and have I missed anybody? No? Rock on. I didn't think the list was complete.
But we do got to send a special shout-out to those that could not be here with us tonight. First off, sending something out to Capers out there. I know, Doug, you had something come up, Doug and Mike and all those guys. We really miss you. Wish you could have been part of this.
No Dancing Tim tonight?
No Dancing Tim. So, I really wish we could have got that on Periscope. Also, Mist from Map It was supposed to be down here with Daniel, my second wife, and we were going to try and have them on the show, but unfortunately she came down with what sounds like the Mackinac Island sickness.
She has the plague, and I told her, keep that plague far away from here.
She is in the chat room, and her name is Plague Carrier.
So is that Typhoid Mist, then?
Yeah, Typhoid Mist. That's even better.
Typhoid Mist? Typhoid Mystical?
I'm having a problem with your guys' hats because you have a parrot on your hat, Chris, and you have a top hat. So does that mean Chris has to sit on your shoulder and squawk?
Don't poop, man.
Well, wait a minute. Someone told me that my head was up a parrot's ass before the show started. So I don't really know what to do with that comment, Joe.
I'm surprised it's not screaming right now.
I know. Whack, whack.
So you ready to get this thing rolling? Are you guys, everybody out, all the teams, ready to get this thing rolling?
Now, I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, from what we found out, this is the largest gathering of paranormal teams on a live radio show. So this is going to be a one-of-a-kind event. And the thing is nothing is sacred here. We got all of these great teams, some of the finest individuals in the paranormal community here in one room to take on every aspect of the paranormal community. We're going to be talking about events. We're going to be talking about equipment. We're going to be talking about the television shows. Anything that we can talk about in there, I'm sure at some point my sexuality will come into contest here. But that's neither here nor there.
No, not really.
Yeah, well, trust me, for Joe, sometimes it always comes in there, But we're going to have a great time. And, wow. Wayne's going, I'm not saying that. Oh, wow. That's crazy. But anyways.
All right. So are we going to what about paranormal streaking? I know that's a hot topic.
Well, paranormal streaking came in during the original message thread that was started last night. And one of the biggest offenders of that was Mr. Timmy Rehan. Now, it's my understanding that he did come with several thongs in his briefcase this evening. So we'll have to wait and see later if the Dearborn police see this pale white man running up and down Outer Drive.
I hope you're ready, Timmy. So I'm going to ask you guys real quick, is there any hot topic pressing issue that you guys would like to discuss? Everybody jump in on the microphone at once.
Orbs.
All right, Mr. Briones, the mad Mexican. Orbs.
Well, let's actually, that is a really big thing within the community itself, and everybody here is investigated. And orbs, when they come up, a lot of people, the first thing they do is shake their head. Now, the great part about it is we have a lot of experience here. Also, we have a scientist here with us tonight, Mr. Chris Bailey from Grimstone, that might be able to help shed some light on this subject. Chris, you being in the science field on a daily basis, why don't you tell us what you believe and your team believes what orbs might or may not be?
You can't take that mic off the mic stand.
Thank you. Hey, Chris, thank you for having us here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about orbs. We started investigating about 19 years ago. Orbs was very new at the time. And when we were looking into this and doing spirit photography, we wanted to first learn good photography. And in order to do that, we started taking some photography classes, talking to professionals online, trying to learn how to do low-light photography. And we even went as far as setting up a photography bench studio where we could try different types of particles and dust and pollens and generate different types of anomalies in very controlled conditions. And what we found more times than not, that we could create these magical things called orbs, any color, almost any size, whether it was spherical or opaque or semi-translucent or hexagonal. Just by controlling some of the dust and some of the different particles we were using with different cameras, putting it close to the focal length of the camera plays. So while they're very interesting, unique, a lot of times we try to not consider those any form of conclusive evidence with most photography claims.
Now, are you sure that the spirits just didn't hear about your experiment and wanted to come in and see what you guys were doing?
I don't think there would be any spirit that would want to hang around with me long term.
Well, let me ask you, everybody, when they start talking about orbs, they start talking about paranormal activity, there's one word that I never hear in it. Wow. Which one of you, hold on a minute, which one of you just broke the cardinal rule of radio by having their cell phone on? Not only...
No, it's the cuckoo clock.
Funny,
wow,
the clock
we have
never
a cuckoo
said that
clock
before
here.
You got here, Chris.
I see how this is.
It's that bird on your head.
There is a paranormal incident right there. But no, the word that I hear, that I don't hear a lot within the paranormal community is bullshit. Okay, in saying that, once again, this is a no-holds-barred discussion, and I want everybody to chime in on this because this is such a hot topic, is personally, I think orbs are bullshit. I think they are. It's nothing but microparticulate, and there are things in the air and everything else like that. If I was a spirit, especially something intelligent, why would I come back as a little round ball of light?
I'd like to be all like, hey, I'm over here. That's all I got.
Oh, hold on a minute. We're going to get a mic to you right now.
I'm not a big fan of orbs either. What about orbs that are actually caught on video? I mean, there's some very compelling evidence. I mean, you could plainly see that they're on a projected path. And I'm not a big fan of them either, but I just...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, my personal experience is this: is a video camera operates very similarly to a digital camera, the things that we use right now. Have you ever noticed prior to digital photography, no one really studied orbs, or even in the historical photographs, they didn't exist? Now, because you had to take the time, which the development, that microsecond right there, for it to imprint on an actual physical negative, that they didn't exist. You had like the brown lady, and you had the monk in the monastery in England, one of the more famous photographs. You never saw like this photograph of an orb back from 1901. But instead, you get digital photography, digital cameras, and all of a sudden, all these orbs start popping up as photography.
What about with the naked eye? We have been to Gettysburg, and we've seen orbs that were huge that came by because it's actually streams of energy.
Well, Christy, with that...
Personally, I can agree with you there, because I have actually seen a ball of light, Joe and I, down at Fort Wayne. No camera was used. It was with the naked eye. It wasn't something we captured, but it was something that we both witnessed. And we thought it was bright enough that we thought somebody had a flashlight and was using a flashlight, but there was nobody there. So I know there are phenomena where orb lights have been seen with the naked eye. I couldn't tell you if it's a spirit or not, but Chris, have you studied any of that type of phenomena?
Those type of things are considered spook lights traditionally, and they've been recorded a lot through history. The thing, though, with those, they're self-illuminating, and where the case with the orbs, it's mainly when camera flashes are used or video camera lights are used, and you're getting a reflection off those small particle objects. So most of the time, 99.999% of the time, it's really not worth looking into. But when there's no outside light source, where it's self-illuminating, where it distributes intelligence, then it might be worth considering. But those times are so rare, we don't even bother looking into them as legitimate sources of paranormal activity because it's hard to distinguish.
And I will agree with that, and Christy, I will agree with that as well, that if you see something without an illumination source, and therefore it very well could be a paranormal activity. Rick?
One of those rare instances happened to me and Sean in MA at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And it was in the up in the psychiatric hospital, the psychiatric ward of Old South. And we were by Nellie's room at the end of the hallway, and me and MA witnessed the ball of light going down the hallway about baseball size maybe. And it was a glittery dark light. It was like you could see the luminescence on the wall as it went down the hallway, and it disappeared. And then we stepped out to the hallway, and we couldn't believe what we saw. And we looked down at the far end of the hallway, and the overhead fluorescent light came on inexplicably too. So that was an amazing experience that we had. We shared.
Well, there seems to be, at least we're making the separation now, and I'm sure everybody here in the room agrees that if it is something that's captured on a camera or a video camera, we can sort of kind of maybe dismiss it with all of the natural and scientific phenomenon that is out there. Now, if we see a self-illuminating ball of light in the middle of a field and it's only two people there, we can say that that may be, quite possibly, a paranormal incident.
Well, and that's one of the things is most people who use orbs as evidence or claim that it's an actual paranormal occurrence, 99.9% of the time it's when they've used a flash on their camera. Now, you show me a camera that you've taken a photo in the dark without a flash and you have a self-illuminating ball of light there, then you might have something. There might be something to that. Don't know what it is, can't say that it's a spirit, but it's definitely anomalous.
I agree. So I think we're all in agreement with the orb situation here. All the teams in the room. Excellent. Yeah, it is. It is Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Hey, wait a minute. You haven't talked like a pirate yet.
I know. Arr. See, I'm not very good at. I don't do a whole lot of voices or accents, so therefore I try to stay away from that.
He has a hard enough time with the English language.
I'm having a hard time. Yeah, that's true. I'm having a hard time taking him seriously when he's trying to talk seriously with his big bird on his head.
Well, and by the way, guys, we are periscoping this.
Yes, we are, and it is at Chris and Wayne Show on Twitter. I believe that's correct. At Chris Wayne Show. So follow us there.
And I'm sure everybody that's going to be asking a question tonight, we're going to try and do this so that way
Most
everybody
of the people that usually hang out in the chat room are here with us tonight.
So what, Joe, by the way, who do we have in the chat room with us this evening?
We have several guests. I won't go through all their numbers, but there's several guests on there with not any names. And there's me. I always like to say that. Jeremy from D-Town. We have the Plague Carrier, which we all know that's Mist.
Keep it up on the island,
We have
Mist.
Paul Chad, who is our chat room monitor, Indy Dwayne, and Kelly. So, yes, I already mentioned in the chat room that the majority of the people are here in the room with us, so the chat room is a bit light.
Which is it's kind of different because normally we can kind of share with everybody in the chat room, and everybody's kind of mostly picking on me from what I found. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm looking at all of them now.
I
they
think
can
that's
do it
like
live.
The next paranormal pastime is picking on you. If they're not out investigating, what else is there to do?
I know, exactly. I'm going to become the next internet meme, I can tell you.
Well, with that hat, you might.
Wow. Well, I'm sure that will be out there.
Did somebody want to pick on Chris? Was somebody?
After last week's disclosures,
Well, wait a minute. Why don't we go into that a little bit? Since most people that are in this room actually heard about that, why don't we tell the general public about that, Mr. Brion?
Most people don't know that Chris hangs out in his trailer all day long, naked, wearing nothing but a smile.
And that is a true definition of a paranormal orb.
Yes, it is. Definite paranormal activity happening at my home on a daily basis.
He cooks
it's amazing.
bacon naked.
Wow. See, I invited that one in, ladies and gentlemen, so I will give that the one feeling that I do have left.
All I got to say is if you ever come over and sit down and there's a blanket on the couch, don't go near the blanket. That's his ass blanket.
Welcome to the Chris and Wayne Show, everybody. We're talking about my nakedity. There it is. So,
well, if you've ever wanted to see anything paranormal and scary as hell in this world, just look at the ass blanket.
Well, unfortunately, Wayne had to witness that firsthand one time. He burst in the door as I was doing dishes.
And just a T-shirt. Yeah, it was very horrible.
Yeah, it was
I'm still
horrible.
scarred to this day.
Yeah.
Ask Dina, I wake up in cold sweats.
Screaming.
Yes.
Was that his white ass? Oh, my God.
No, I'm hoping it was just a T-shirt. I can keep dreaming. But enough about your nakedity.
Yeah, once again, we're just, trying to, break everything up and, throw some humor in there, too. But before we go any further, we do have a birthday in the room. Sean, why don't you come on over here real quick so Wayne can grab your behind.
No kidding.
Oh, did you bring the sheep?
Yes, the sheep thing will be after. By the way, after this,
this
everybody.
is going to go for Mark. This is Tuesday.
Yes, exactly. So after the show tonight, guys, we're going to have one of the largest paranormal cocktail hours ever. So, and hopefully that'll be periscoped as well. But let me see here if I can find. There was a birthday song I had for you. Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, here you go. We're going to send this for the Chris and Wayne Show out to you, Sean. And then, by the way, after this, I'm going to play a little something that we taped during your pre-show birthday spankings.
Okay.
So here's our birthday tribute to you, Sean.
Once a year we celebrate with stupid hats and plastic plates. The fact that you were able to make that trip around the sun. And the whole clan gathers round and gifts and laughter do abound. And we let out a joyful sound and sing that stupid song. Happy birthday, now you're 1 year older. Happy birthday, your life still isn't over. Happy birthday, you did not accomplish much, but you didn't die this year, I guess that's good enough.
See, but that's not enough. As you know, here on the Chris and Wayne Show, we take a recorder to everything. So as we had you down during our ritualistic spanking that the Kraken orders us to do every time, I want to play this little audio clip, and it seemed like you wanted more.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Oh, it's coming from my ass! Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Look at my
unfortunately, Sean, we're sorry about your ass.
Well, okay.
Yeah, well, but later on, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But anyways, Sean, happy birthday.
Hey, what does my ass have to do with paranormal stuff anyway?
Well, you should have been listening to the headphones, Sean. You would have
I was listening to
that.
the
Your ass is a paranormal affair, apparently.
That'd be cool.
So, just keeping that in mind. But anyways, let's get back to the paranormal roundtable here and talking about it. Let's talk a little bit. One of the biggest sticking points that I see almost on a daily basis is the paranormal TV shows that are out there. Okay, there's a lot of really great work that's taking place out there. Of course, a lot of people, there's still people looking for TV shows and everything else like that. But there's some great research out there, and there's some not so great research out there, to be honest. What is your guys' thoughts on that?
I have a mic.
Oh, cool. Anybody? How about you? I'm going to make a volunteer. Ken? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
Give it to Jen.
Well, let's give it.
love how he
Jen,
always tries to
this is
throw me
Jennifer
under the
Holt,
bus.
Maine from Portal Paranormal.
Be me. I know it's supposed to be a sacred area. However, there's some validity in some of the shows. There's a few out there, though, however, that have just made me go, make us look like a bunch of idiots with what we do. Because I like to think that the majority of us are in it for research, scientific purposes, and you get a lot of the what's in it for ratings when it comes to TV. So there's a lot of good things happening out there, but there's also a lot that brings a lot of negativity to our field, which in turn, right, we get a lot of people interested, but we also get a lot of people that go, oh, these people are crazy.
And I agree quite a bit with that statement. It is one of those things where you have to take the good with the bad to some extent. I mean, we all know that a lot of us are here, got together, started talking about our passion because of the paranormal TV. So, I mean, we do have to give the kudos to those who broke it out of the taboo, and that they're a reason we all get together and do what we do. With that said, yeah, there are some that are a little bit far-fetched, a little bit unbelievable to an extent. But I do there's so much that goes on with production that we don't get to see as behind, in front of or behind the cameras of what's coming across the screen. And we all know, we've all been to the events where those people have been there, people on the TV shows and things of that nature. So I do think that some of them get a bad rap or a worse rap and have gone through a lot of hell that maybe I don't know if they really brought it upon themselves or not. But, I've been there. Everybody, I'll give you guys an example. And this is just because this person I know is a very cool individual, very, very good friend is Mr. John Zaffis.
Well, wait a minute. Are we making reference to the Fort?
No, not at all. This is something different. I was at an event with John when Haunted Collector was out there, and what people don't realize is John he's if anybody out there in a paranormal TV show that anybody should be wanting to learn from, it's John Zaffis, because he's been in the field for so long.
Well, and the funny part about John Zaffis is he gets such a bum rap.
Well, I've seen people call him a thief to his face.
I was at an event where someone called him a thief to his face and say, wait a minute, no, he only takes it and holds it in the museum. They can retrieve the item anytime, and it's by their permission that he takes and puts them in encapsulation.
So that's the kind of thing I'm saying, is where they get this rap, or there's these people to see things on TV, and most of us are not gullible individuals. We realize that, okay, this is a TV show. John's not really going into people's homes and stealing stuff.
Also, if I can interject on that, most people that watch paranormal TV shows, okay, a lot of us here in this room, I'm sure you'll agree, we watch those for entertainment purposes only. We know that the production value is there. A true investigator they automatically throw everything into question. They go, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I didn't experience, therefore I can't judge it. Is that not a fair assumption?
So just with some of the raps that I know people do get, but again, I know I have watched shows that I've watched like 5 minutes of it, and I can't take this. I can't watch it. It's to where they've gone out and they've definitely tried to be over the top, and they've tried to be what the ratings are required.
It's like a hair gel commercial, if that makes any sense. Put an X here. Yeah.
Well, not to bring Chris's nakedness back into the topic of conversation.
We were going to let that die.
When it comes to speaking about the paranormal shows, I do want to throw kudos out to every investigator worldwide that Naked Paranormal did not become a TV show. Can I get an A?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and that was doomed to fail. We all knew what the naked dating, the naked everything that was happening. That just seemed to be a shock value paranormal.
And it was just a matter of time before somebody actually tried that.
Now going to the production side of it, we've got Christy Robinette here, who's been involved in production. I myself have been in production. Not only have I been in an episode, I've actually worked in the field. We've got Ken Zeminski over here that works in production on a daily basis. We know that what we see in that final half hour is like hundreds of hours that are filtered down to this thing that, oh my God, that we got to have this action, and then we insert music and perfect cut takes and everything else where all of a sudden it looks awesome and scary.
I was going to say, Mally's been in quite a few
Yeah,
productions.
Mally,
too.
you have too. So why don't we get your take on it?
Oh, no.
Wow.
Well, all I have to say is that a lot of it is left up to the production team. What we see and what we do doesn't always end up on screen, on the TV. Sorry. Okay, I'll hold it. But you do have to keep in mind that it is entertainment purposes, like you said. It does suck when we are out there and it makes us look like idiots, because we are trying to represent everybody out there in the paranormal world, because it is already difficult to, what do you say? We have a bum rap. So it is, we're trying to show that we are intelligent people. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't come across that way. So, I mean, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. And, if we disagree with something, we do bring it up when we are being filmed. To be honest, I was removed a lot from scenes because I did speak my mind and I did voice my opinion. But, yeah, just keep in mind that it is entertainment only. And unfortunately, as we all know, investigating, we're there for 10 hours and nothing happens. And sometimes it has to be fudged a little to make it not so boring.
Well, you would be really surprised what, you and I both know, and I'm sure Ken will agree with me here, that what a little piece of music will do to a certain scene. And with that, I wouldn't necessarily call it fudging, because all of us here in this room would agree that 99.9% of the cases that we're on, we get absolutely nothing. We drive halfway across the state. Next thing we know, oh, my God, my walls are dripping blood. And then we get out there, and it's like, well, nothing happened. Okay, do we believe the client? Well, we believe the client to the point that we know that what they experienced was true. It was real to them. Were we able to replicate that exact same thing? No. Now, if you're in a production thing where you've already got thousands of dollars in an entire crew, equipment, you've driven from wherever it is, and then, of course, they got to make it sell it. The one thing most people don't realize is when you're out on a production thing, how many other cases has Ghost Hunters done? We see, 12, 13, maybe 15 cases, the hundreds of cases that were done out there that they had absolutely nothing happen. And when you try and sell to the general public one EVP that all of a sudden the place is demonic. Now, Ghost Hunters is really, they're genuine. You've got all the other things that are out there, but there are some people that do kind of stretch it, if you will.
You know what, though? What I want to see with shows is that a lot of times you'll watch people go in and they'll investigate and then they give the results. However, you don't see what happens 2 months down the road. What if there are hauntings going on? Or what if it is psychological with the homeowners? They say, thank you for letting us film, and then they're out of there. Instead of sending maybe a psychologist there to help the family cope, or to do, the shows where they say, cross over to the light and then it's done, poof. We all know that doesn't really necessarily happen. And I would like to see people go in there to help them after the fact. Because you never really see shows like that where you see them actually helping them deal with their situation.
Well, great. I think that's a very valid point. It would almost, okay, I'm throwing a show idea out there, but you could almost do a show about that after the, hold on one sec.
We got Christy
So
Robinette.
I did. I filmed a show very close to that, and I was told it was too boring.
Anybody that's ever done this for more than 5 minutes knows that this is like watching paint dry.
And I think we've all actually another one. They need to start doing stuff on. What's the worst thing that we always run into as paranormal investigators? What's the worst thing or the most craziest thing we always run into?
Boredom.
No, it's the client. They need to do the show on these on crazy clients. I mean, we've all of us. I know each one of us could talk about a case that just blew you out of the water.
You know what? Hold on.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys have heard our crazy client experience. Is there anybody in the room that has had a crazy client without
names?
Wow. Literally, I still have post-traumatic stress disorder from the last client that I dealt with. Now, why don't we give it to Ken here from Portal, and he can kind of...
let's just talk some crazy client
First and
stories.
foremost, you're not violating any...
I will not name names unless it has to do with
fantastic
your ass.
I hope you were not investigating his ass.
Why does it always come back to my ass? Wow, Sean, your and I asses are definitely
kind of like home,
things.
Chris.
Like big white orbs streaking across. Whatever.
Well, no, I will not divulge anything that would indicate what client it was, but we had a case 3 years ago now where there was suspected really malevolent activity, and we went through all the paces, and we did all the research, and we did all the everything we needed to do. And it turned out that not only was this client enabling this stuff to go on, but she was disappointed when we told her it wasn't demonic. And
wow.
And then continued to call me for the next 9 months.
I had a client exactly like that.
I mean, it was about as close to a stalker as I've ever come.
We'll compare notes after the show.
Seriously, I wonder if it's the same client. It could be the same client. At any rate, that's one of the reasons that it's one of the reasons that my co-founder Jen, we said we need to get somebody with the proper training on the team, and within 2 weeks, I'm glad to say our team member that we brought on is getting her degree in psychology in the next,
awesome.
6 months. So now we have somebody who can look at what, and in fact, this member is scary because she can tell when you're lying about anything. And I mean, I feel bad for her husband.
Not to name any names.
She's told me, she said he's come in and said something, and she's like, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to go in the other room, and I'm going to come back. And then I want you to think about what you're going to answer me with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yes, no, that was our hellish experience.
And that seems to be a common thread amongst any paranormal team. And I've talked to paranormal teams from all over the world, and they always have a crazy client story.
Anybody else want to share some?
We got Kevin Bell from D-Town.
Yeah, I'm sure some people have heard the same story. I think I've said it in the last radio show we were at. A lot of the clients we do have to actually check out. I mean, we do research as far as the clients are, But we came across a client that he said a demon had severed his toes, essentially. Well, we never took the case. We kind of dropped it from there. We contacted him maybe once to see how he was doing, but never answered the phone. Come to find out, our newest investigator actually worked at a psychiatric unit where she came across that same person. Apparently, he did chop off his toes. So it is very dangerous at times.
Wait a minute. I got to stop you right there. Did the listeners just hear correctly that you went to a guy's house and then later on you find out that this guy severed his own toes?
No, they didn't take
No. We never went to the house. No.
Good.
He called looking for help, saying that a demon had chopped off his toes. And then another team member worked at a place that this guy was at.
Okay.
And he actually did chop his own toes off.
Wow.
So that's it's scary.
Insane.
What is it about feet?
Yeah, we had a haunted feet case ourselves. Is there anybody else here that would like to talk about a disgruntled or crazy? I've got Keith from Michigan State Paranormal.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to comment on a weird situation that we had. We went to...
I like it how you called it weird and
well,
crazy.
Weird, yeah. The clients contact us through our website, and they let us know the claims activity that take place. And then when we get to the location, we ask them to kind of go over the claims and, where these claims have taken place, so we know the hot spots of where we're going to gear our investigation to. And this particular location, the client, once we got to the location, could not remember any activity actually taking place. That was probably one of the weirdest things that we ever experienced.
Okay, so you had a client that could email perfectly great claims of
it was
activity.
very lengthy claim of activity.
So like 9 pages of perfect Excel documents, pie charts, everything else like that. And then when he got to the location, couldn't remember a damn thing.
Couldn't remember anything that was actually taking place there.
What was that person's excuse for that?
I think the person was actually under the influence of something.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did seem kind of wacky when we walked in.
Was his first name Chung by any chance?
It was a she, so no.
We've got Mark Briones from Marta Paranormal.
Yeah, we had a client call us up. He's frightened of his house. He's, the whole 10 yards. So I actually called in Jason with 313. We show up on location. We want to help out this client. What does he do? He starts filming for his YouTube channel. Whole house is wired up in the whole 10 yards. So we went ahead with the investigation, but as it turned out, it was like, there's no way I'm going to promote this guy or his location at all.
You made a blog, literally, is what happened.
I think we've all probably ran across where we're going to go out and do an investigation. This was in our early days. We ran across this a couple times, and that's when we learned how to put a stop to it, where you get to the home and like everybody and their family and friends are there. And it's kind of one of those, okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to do anything tonight. And then they're mad at you because you aren't going to do the investigation with 20 people running through the house.
Well, I can tell you right now, if you guys want to stop a crazy client from dealing with you, the first thing I always do during any consultation phone call is I say, I want you for the next 7 days to take notes of exactly what time the haunting's taking place. I want you to write down what type of activity, dreams, whatever you may be experiencing. And it's funny because all of a sudden they stop writing and calling. It's the minute that you put work into the client's hands, and I'm not saying that what's happening is not happening to them, but they go, well, wait a minute, I actually got to work for this a little bit? Okay.
You had one? Derek from
Downriver Paranormal.
You get how many cases, and everybody's had them for matrixing, for, all sorts of different things that they say they experience, but you can, before you even do an investigation, you can basically, tell them it's not what you think it is. We've had cases where we've had one in particular where we go to the house before we investigate. We went to this house; it wasn't that far away. We want to talk to these people first, so we go there. They have their flip phone, 1 megapixel camera. They're taking pictures of their couch. It's a microfiber couch, and they're seeing all this stuff. It's all matrixing. So you tell them, listen, I can see what you're seeing, but it's matrixing. Look, I can do the same thing, and they don't want to listen to you. And when they don't want to listen to you, that means something else is the problem. It's more of a mental issue than more of a paranormal issue. And we get that quite often. Another thing is, when you go into a house and you see every season of every paranormal show sitting on the freaking stand, and then you have one in the DVD player as you're walking in. It's those things that, when you walk in, it already clicks that, okay, this is basically, we'll go through and see what we can do, but you're already getting the red flags even before you start. And you try telling them, and when they don't want to take what you think it is, and you're giving them the truth, and they don't take it, that means they're not there for that reason. They don't want your services at all.
Right. And I think every one of us here can probably attest to this. How many of you have talked to a client and they've said that they've actually contacted another team that's in this room? I mean, it's happened, I think, with everybody. But I think we have a couple of questions, if I'm not mistaken.
We do, and I'll ask you guys if you want. We can. I'm posting them and setting them off to the side. We can continue and then save time at the end for questions in the chat room.
Let's handle. Are you guys willing to handle questions from our listeners as we go?
Indy Dwayne, it's going to be a little hard because you're going to have to describe, but he wanted to know what was the scariest EVP you ever heard. Anybody want to join into that?
We caught an EVP at a house case one time. Granted, it came through a PSB7, and I'm a little skeptical of those. But it started out with something mimicking the sound of my voice. Sean and Rick were both also present for this, and I just simply asked the question, did you just use my voice? And the response we got back through the PSB7 was, you're the devil. So that was probably one of the craziest things that I have ever heard.
Well, I can kind of talk about that as well. As we were doing a jail, we were called out by the Michigan State Police, and it was funny because as us as investigators, we put ourselves into a theatrical environment when we go out there. Not only do we study the history, we try and replicate exactly what was happening at any location, whether it be something historical that happened around 1903 or something that happened in 1988. We try and use trigger objects. And one time we actually were out at this prison, and I had handcuffs and, smokes and lighters and this billy club, and I was just walking out solitary confinement. Scariest moment of my life, believe it or not, everywhere that I've ever been, and I've been in some creepy places. Next thing I know, I'm walking down solitary confinement, the paint chips on the walls are crunching underneath my feet, and the question that came to mind right at that moment was, what do you think about as you lie in bed at night here? And then later on in review, I had nothing, man. And I can tell you, all of the EVPs that I've ever heard in my entire life have never hit home like that one has. Because you think about the emptiness and everything else that comes along with that, a prisoner. He might have been there for life in solitary confinement because he was just trying to defend himself. And I'm sure other people have had EVPs like that as well. As Mark, you want to comment on this?
For you pirate people.
Oh, yeah.
Follow the we didn't follow the rule.
You're the only one that's been observing the pirate role tonight. Thank you, Mark.
We did an investigation about a month ago. It was in Brooklyn, Michigan, and there was the lady had in her basement. She had a shrine, goat's head, deer head, and she was told, of course, not to touch it. There was demons, 8 demons supposedly in this room, according to this psychic or sensitive that was down there. 2 of the members were down there doing an EVP session. The one, he stuck the microphone up to the shrine and asked the other member if there's anything he wanted to add to the conversation. He said no. No, he actually didn't say no. He basically said, well, I just want to take your picture by the shrine. And that's all he said. And the next day we listened to the EVP and got the loudest EVP we ever heard. It was a man's voice. You can hear him smacking almost like his lips. And he goes, no, real loud. The loudest EP we ever caught. Louder than they were talking on audio. So that was the craziest thing we ever heard.
I think as far as what we've ever recorded on for our team, I'd have to say, and most of you guys have probably heard this one, was the one down at Fort Wayne in the gymnasium.
Definitely, that was an intelligent EVP.
That was, Kevin was in there with his wife Christy, and he was asking questions. Did you just slam this door? Is there anybody here with us? And the clearest I've ever heard any EVP ever was the "leave me alone," and he sounded a little upset when he said it. And we have, when we gone back and investigated that place, that was the second one we got that night, which sounded like the same other person. The other one's not clear. We always have a contest of what it says, which is a good example of how different people hear different things. But we did get another one when we went back. We were investigating on Halloween. It was just a team there. And we got a leave. It sounded like the same guy, but it wasn't as clear or as vibrant as that one, "Leave Me Alone."
And we've got Sean from PE Paranormal.
Yes. Probably one of the best EVPs that I've ever encountered, believe it or not, was at a cemetery. And actually I caught the EVP 3 times throughout the night of a little girl calling me daddy. And there was also another part. We were trying to communicate with the little girl, and we actually did a song. What song was that? Ring Around the Rosie. And we got to the ashes, ashes, and we caught Fall Down. And that was probably the best EVPs like I've ever caught or like ever heard.
EVP is one of those things that, to me, is a viable source of paranormal investigation. To me, it's either photographic, but we all know how many anomalies can occur on photographic or video, even the same thing. We've all seen those videos posted on various sites that say, "Oh my God, it's a ghost," but no, it's a moth. The same thing, photograph. But when you talk EVP, the question is what is it? Now, everybody here that's listened to the show knows my opinions of a ghost. They say, well, could it be a ghost or could it be something else? But either way, when you don't hear it with your ear and it appears on a digital or analog recorder, it could be. It's definitely something anomalous. At least that's the only thing that we can assign the anomalous tag to.
And I'd say even more so when it corresponds with what you're talking about or asking it to reply to a question, and it gives you an intelligent reply. I mean, there are things that you think of, okay, some kind of audio stamp did come across on a radio frequency somewhere, how or another, got picked up on that recorder. Like when you said, "What's your name?" and you get, "I like ice cream." Okay, that's not an intelligent reply to the question, but if you get something interacting or actually playing along with the song that you're singing, that does make you wonder.
I mean, talking to everybody here that's in this room, and I'm sure I've had serious conversations with almost everybody in this room about what a ghost is, what hauntings are, and everything else like that. And it's amazing to hear the differences in opinion and be able to, and it's funny because everybody sitting around here, they kind of scratch their head. Mark?
Yeah, I just want to add this before I pass the baton on. We were in the Queen Mary back in July, and heard a disembodied voice of a woman singing, humming while we were in the changed dressing room. And me and another person they were in there, we were the only ones that heard that, and there was other people, other members there, and to catch it on audio and video was amazing. But to hear that, with my own ears.
Oh, yeah, hearing that in Long Beach, the Queen Mary obviously was hit by a torpedo and everything else like that went through it. And it has a long history of hauntings. Terry?
Not the scariest, but definitely probably the most heart-wrenching one we've ever got was out in Bath, Michigan, at the site of the Bath School Massacre.
The bombing?
Yes. We got an EVP of a child very clearly saying, "I want my mommy." And it is, you just want to cry when you hear that.
I can tell you, Terry, there's one thing that will wrench my heart or scare the hell out of me is getting a child on an EVP or getting them in there. It's just it's a child. They had another chance to live their life. Christy?
Just kind of funny. I was at the old Jackson prison in the tunnels, and we like to sing. Music has a way of bringing out some great EVPs. And we, instead of Jailhouse Rock, we started singing Blue Suede Shoes, Oops, and the EVP says, "Wrong song." So it's kind of funny. Also at the Straight Farmhouse, I asked what the favorite animal was. There's a child that haunts there, and it said hippo. And so we started singing "I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas," and on the EVP, it's the clearest EVP I've ever heard. It says, "I want a hippopotamus too," but so heart wrenching because you think, gosh, that spirit.
Well, I mean, speaking of music and EVPs, one of the two of the greatest experiences I've ever seen investigative teams using them is, number one, Ken from Portal Paranormal. You guys at Historic Fort Wayne in the Spanish American Guardhouse playing actual historical songs to the period and getting responses to that as well. And Chris Bailey down when you and I went down to Prospect Place, and you guys were playing the Slaver songs in the barn with the bounty hunter and the slave containment area. Great. That's what we need to do. Take our historical research one step farther and use that through their music, because all of us here, whether you're listening to an Iron Maiden song or you're listening to a slaver song from 1861, it's still the same thing. It makes a personal connection.
Well, music is such a big part of our lives, and it's always been, and it's things that we connect to. So I love the fact that people use music in their investigations. We do have another question. You guys switch topics here?
Yeah, let's switch topics.
Okay, this is a really good question, and I think this is going to bring a lot of conversation.
So who's bringing this one to us?
This is Jeremy from D-Town.
All right.
His question is... He's in trouble. Yes, he is. Well, his question is the rise and fall of Paraunity. Someone was recently telling him that Paraunity is on the fall. but he sees it happen all over the place, mostly including in Michigan. But what does everyone think? Do you think it's on the rise, or do you think it's falling, and why?
Well, let me start that one off. First and foremost, anybody that's following us here on Periscope, okay, or anyone that's been to an event here in the state of Michigan, I can tell you what, Jeremy, here in the state of Michigan, Para-Unity is on the rise and it's moving forward.
I'll have to, yeah.
I mean, people from all over the United States and the world look upon the little mitten state about everything because they keep seeing our post about the events that we do them together, and they're jealous. They go, well, why isn't my state working? But I can tell you it's because each and every one of you, we are not just paranormal investigators. We are one big family here in the state, and that's an amazing thing.
I have to concur with Chris. Wow, and I said concur.
Wow.
What do you think that is, though, in some states? What do you think that is?
Why? Why do I think it's not that way? Well, you know what? It used to didn't be this way here in Michigan, too. It was very cutthroat back when we first started. I'm sure back when a lot of you guys first started. It was very very territorial, very backstabbing. We're better than you. We've had teams call clients and say, well, we've got better equipment than them. We've had teams, do a lot of things that, I don't really want to get into. But it's one of those that you got to come to the conclusion. For us personally, it all started with, honestly, us doing the events down at Fort Wayne. All you guys started coming down, and we started noticing that all these people are supporting what we're doing here. And this is stuff that we actually talked about within the team. It's like, wow, all these guys are coming down. They're supporting what we're doing. So it became kind of this magical thing to us when we'd see you guys coming week after, month after month, or coming back a couple times, repeating. It's like, wow, I can't believe you're coming back and hanging out with us again.
And
it was shocking. It was one of those, like, wow, I can't believe this.
And the coolest part about it is once again, it gave us a chance to get to know each and every one of you. A lot of, there's probably only one person I really knew in the room before all of that. That was you, Ken, from Portal, because you and I did historical reenacting together. But
well, Chris, back in the old Ghostly Talk days.
Yep. Chris, yeah, that's right. You were one of the first radio interviews that we ever did. But throughout the years, we've seen an evolution of the paranormal unity here in the state of Michigan. It used to be segregated, now it's
tight.
To
answer your question, I think it was because we all got to talk to each other. I think because we were at a place and we got to realize, well, hey, these people are just like us. They're out doing trying to do exactly what we're trying to do. And, we got the opportunity back at our last days there. We were asked to hold a big event down at the fort. Short notice. We had 5 months to throw this thing together, and we were at a loss of what to do. Honestly, we were like, well, what can we do? How can we pull this big event off? And we were sitting there talking about it as a collective group. And you wanted to say something real quick, Ken?
I do. I'm making up for my last one. No, I think part of the issue is what people view paranormal unity as I can't tell you how many times I've gotten into knockdown dragouts with people who seem to think para-unity is a bunch of teams standing around in a circle, all stroking each other, telling each other how great their evidence is. And it's not that at all. If anything, I want people to look at my stuff and try and tell me why it's not what I think it is. Now, granted, they weren't there, they didn't see it, they didn't hear it, whatever, but it's not benefiting anybody to have people out there thinking, oh, they're just all like in this happy little gleeful group telling each other how great they are, because that's not what it's about at all, at least not to us.
Well, and I think, again, all of us here we all know each other. We all hang out with each other. We've seen each other at some of our best and some of our worst. So we're not afraid to say, dude, I think that's crap. Or, you know what, I think maybe that's not what you think it is. We're not afraid to critique each other. We're not afraid to have knockdown dragouts and totally disagree, but we're still cool with that. We can agree to disagree.
Well, the first thing is I do let me just say something real quick, Chris. I want to say, Ken, thank you for your candidness. Okay, a lot of people are afraid to say that. And, that is what we're in to do is we're supposed to take our thing and put it for peer review. And if we can't put it in peer review in front of our friends, in front of our brothers and sisters within the paranormal community, and to say, hey, well, here's another opinion, then, hey, Chris Bailey from Grimstone.
When it comes to paranormal unity, just look at what we're doing tonight. All these groups here together.
I agree. Lady.
I think maybe other states view it as competition. It's not a competition. We're here for the same results. We're here to get answers. We're here to help people. It's about working together to get an answer, to learn, to build. That's what it's all about. People that want to segregate themselves as a team because they don't agree with what people. It's not about that. You may be wrong, but you might be wrong a couple times, but you want to get that right answer because you want to help these people and you want to make it, a group involvement to get the right answer so that people aren't left in the dark. People are, people get the help they need.
It's drawing on a shared experience. It's drawing on a shared experience to get closer to whatever answers we're looking for.
What we at the Paranormal Unity Center, and by the way, I'm Candy, one of your admins there, we would like to see all you teams actually lean on each other for various things, for review of your evidence, for questioning of evidence to each other, also to help out at events, et cetera, kind of share responsibility. And I try to do that as much as I can, and I have done it in the past, and I still am willing to do in the future, even though I'm not a team member anymore. But the whole thing with us in Michigan, I know the southern states are really competitive. It's ridiculous. They're slicing each other's throats
Real
down
quick,
there.
Candace, I think you're looking at your team.
Yeah, I am. My whole team. Well, except for the few that are out and sick. Yes. I have a lot of team members. But to be fair, I've tried to book a tour in Louisiana for one of the ghost tours, and I was actually contacted by somebody else, not the team that was putting it on. And they were trying to slice the other team's throat, and I eventually didn't take that tour. But
Terry from Martyr, I would like to say, Paranormal Unity does work in Michigan, and I can say that because I have had the honor of investigating with at least half of the people in this room, and I have learned a lot of things from everybody in this room, and I've had people tell me they've learned stuff from me. I mean, being able to talk theories and come up with new ideas with everybody, it has just been a wonderful experience, and I think everybody has been able to advance for that.
And I have to agree with you on that. And I have to, for those people listening in other states that don't have paranormal community or paranormal unity, you need to create that. You need to reach out to other teams. Because everybody in this room has reached out to somebody else in this room to ask advice, to ask for help on issues. And it's nice to be able to reach out to somebody because you don't have all the answers. You don't know everything that there is to know in the paranormal field. So it's just having a support group of a bunch of individuals that you can lean on or call upon when you don't know the answer or you need a little advice. And I think that's the beauty of the paranormal unity aspect. It's not, like Ken said, it's not everybody out there patting each other on the back saying, oh, good job, this and that. It's more along the line so you could have candid conversations with each other, talk about things that need to be talked about. And it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. You're still friends at the end of it because you all are out trying to do the same thing.
There is... Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I just wanted to say, too, that it is spreading. Our chapter down in Tennessee did their first gathering with multiple teams down there, which are now all working together.
Fantastic.
They were blown away that they could do this.
Now, Brian, that's the one thing is you're taking that message and you're moving it forward to the rest of not only the United States. Let's broaden the horizon here. Let's take it all over the world. Let's have Paranormal Unity bust out of a sticker on Facebook or an image and go across the world with everybody working together towards the original goals we were supposed to be working forward to begin with.
I do have, very good said. Woohoo! But, Arg. I do want to add for voice here, she's not here, this is Mist, and she wrote a very eloquent little paragraph in the chat room, and I asked her if it was okay to share, and she said, please do. She says, I think that we in Michigan are very lucky, even when we don't see eye to eye with techniques or how to investigate or what a ghost even is, even equipment. So many of us are open to listening to each other and taking the chance to learn and grow together. We can reach out to each other for help and get it. And she's like, we get the idea. Even inviting others to join in the investigation. I've seen teams in other states, and I'm saddened to see how they prance around each other like grizzlies in the spring. Point at the screen right there is para-unity, and she's watching it on Periscope is what she means. We can argue, and we don't even get along about something, but getting together like this is amazing, and she feels blessed as part of the family that we've become to learn together. So very well spoken.
And I think, and I really do think you hit the nail on the head there, Mist, is because we've so far advanced from being just paranormal investigators. We are a parafamily up here. And one of the greatest compliments that was ever bestowed upon us was a friend of ours that happened to have been on TV. And when we were out on a hotel room balcony one time, he said, you know what? One of the greatest things that I've ever had the chance to work is from people from Michigan. Because each and every one of us have come together. And it's such an amazing thing that blows them out of the water.
And it is something, so you guys know, I mean, we do get the opportunity to travel a lot of places. Just so you guys know, it is commented on. People do realize that there is something going on in Michigan. People do talk about it, believe it or not. You know, you hear, I wish we could get that. I wish we could get that here. You hear it all the time.
Now, that doesn't mean that we're better than anybody else. We're just trying to say, guys, this is how it's supposed to go.
Talk to each other. Set something up. Do a picnic. Do something out there. Just get the teams together to talk, because that's how it starts.
For the love of God, just reach out and talk to your brother or sister. It's really simple. But, hey, you know what? We've been at it for over an hour here in this special 2-hour episode. I think it's time to take a break because I know Mark Briones has been just dying to do shots. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5 or 6 minute break here. Let everybody kind of go refill their glass. And if you have any questions for us in the chat room, please let us know. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we want to thank everybody at the half mark for hanging out with us. We'll be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Delicious things to eat. The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
For your convenience, we have an attractive refreshment stand in the lobby with buttered popcorn, golden good and hot from the popper, your favorite candies, wholesome and rich with a flavor treat for every taste, ice cream and other good things to eat, plus delicious Coca-Cola. So bright and bracing with the tang and tingle unmatched by any other beverage. Enjoy ice-cold Coca-Cola at our refreshment stand right now.
Hey, hang on, you guys. I'll be right back.
Metro Paranormal Investigations and the Saginaw Valley Naval Ship Museum are proud to present this rare opportunity for guests to explore one of America's most decorated warships, the USS Edson. The Edson proudly served America for over 3 decades and now has reached her final berth in Bay City, Michigan. But even in her retirement from active service, all is not quiet on board, as many tales of unexplained activity on the Edson have followed the ship throughout the years. Do you dare explore this mighty ship and attempt to learn her secrets? What will you find on board this piece of American history? For more information, be sure to visit metroparanormal.org/Edson.
You have that special engagement party tomorrow, and you really want to stand out. So how do you get that perfect, professional Hollywood look? It's easier than you think. Just call Makeup by Lisa Nicole today. An artist and trusted industry professional, Lisa can make you look just like you stepped off the red carpet and make that special day even better. For weddings, parties, prom, and so much more, Lisa will make you shine. So call or text Makeup by Lisa Nicole today at 586-854-0550. Don't just look like a star. With Makeup by Lisa Nicole, you can be a star.
I'm all alone. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right.
Aw, man, not again. What seems to be the problem, officer?
License and registration, please. Do you know how fast you were going?
I know I was speeding, but I'm in a hurry to get to the ghost hunt at the Toledo Yacht Club.
Ghost hunts, eh? I love ghost hunters.
It's an awesome hunt at a historic location, and the activity is supposed to be crazy. And I got a great deal. Hey, where are you going? Aren't you going to give me a ticket?
I'll let you off with a warning. I have to get back to the station and reserve my spot for the Toledo Yacht Club ghost hunts.
For ticket information and availability, check our Facebook page at TYC Ghost Hunts, or you can call 419-779-5807.
Are you looking for help with criminal defense, family law, divorce, or bankruptcy in Wayne, Oakland, or Macomb County? Well, look no further. Call the paranormal lawyer himself, attorney Kevin C. Johnson of Invictus Legal Group, PLLC, the official legal counsel of the Haunted Ship of Doom. He is a dedicated attorney who takes his responsibilities seriously, knowing that the results he achieves for his clients will have a long-lasting impact on their lives. Call today for a free consultation at 586-439-4297 or log on to invictuslegalgroup.com for more information.
Are you interested in the paranormal? Want to go on an investigation at a real haunted location? And meet investigators from your favorite shows? Then the ideal place for you is Ideal Event Management. Check out our upcoming events and get your tickets now while they last at www.idealeventmanage.com.
Hey gang, Captain Chris here from the Chris and Wayne Show. Do you need something sweet to hang in the man cave?
Oh, hell yeah!
Do you need a sign for your business that really shows off your style?
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen!
How about a special gift for that certain someone? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you have to call the crew over at Graven Images Metalworks today at 586-703-8307. Let them hook you up with that perfect custom creation that will last a lifetime. And it's made right here in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Let Graven Images Metalworks take your vision and make it a reality.
Hey gang, Chris and Wayne here from the Chris and Wayne Show.
It may be months away, but we're already gearing up for the thrills and chills of October.
Be sure to join us at the Little Traverse Bay Parafest this October 16th in Petoskey, Michigan.
With all the awesome speakers and presenters lining up, this will be the place to kick off the Halloween season. And we'll be broadcasting live from the event.
Tickets and lodging will fill up fast, so be sure to visit www.littletraversbayparafest.webs.com for all of the event details. You had better be there.
Don't make us.
Release the Kraken!
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
There's something wrong with us! Something very, very wrong with us!
And now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We certainly hope that break was long enough.
You totally did not do that right.
I can tell you right now, I have never seen a group of individuals scramble for smokes, drinks, food, and everything else in one thing. I mean, it's just been amazing.
In one thing?
In one thing. Stuff and things. So
just so you guys don't know, if Chris doesn't have an explanation for something,
I go stuff and things.
Yeah, and that kind of things and that kind of stuff. So it's always stuff and things.
I kind of expect everybody to know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I kind of go over the edge a little bit. But no, we want to say right now, first off, there was one shout-out that we did forget about. We want to check out, as you heard, the Toledo Yacht Club Ghost Hunt. Everybody's down there now. There's a group of investigators down there working with the public right now.
There's even a couple of team members from teams that are in here tonight down there.
Hanging out down at the Toledo Yacht Club. Chad and the gang from Erie Shores. So you want to check that out. Also, you want to check out, why don't we hand the mic to Christy Robinette? You've got an event coming up next weekend, Friday, actually.
Yay, yeah, Friday at the Howell Opera House. I know several years ago a lot of teams were investigating, and then they kind of shut that down on us, and they're letting us do it again. So I have a new book that came out 3 weeks ago, and we're actually in third reprint. Super grateful for it.
That's fantastic.
We're
We did with the opening on our show.
Yeah, we're 500 books back ordered right now, so
Awesome.
I'm kind of screwed. It's a good thing, but I'm kind of screwed as well. But so we're doing, it's the official book launch is Friday, and we are going to see if we can prove life after life.
Fantastic. And we will be there, guys, on site between 9 and 10 next Friday, broadcasting the seance from the Howell Opera House live.
There's another gig Saturday, is there not, Chris?
Indeed. Go ahead, Wayne.
You go for it.
No, go ahead.
No, you do it.
It's all you.
I want to have an argument with you right here, live on.
You're gonna have an argument with me.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
We do it every day.
Yeah, indeed. Here we go. The mics are going to be thrown. No, guys, Dale Quealy from Rose City Paracon, that is going on next weekend, 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. We're going to have speakers out there, including the headlining speaker, Mr. Jeff Ballinger himself, and us here at the Chris and Wayne Show. We're going to be down there. And Todd Clements is leading off the lineup, as a matter of fact, which, by the way, he's on the island right now with Adam and Amy up there doing his event up there, but the Apparition Apprehenders are going to be up there, our steampunk impression. So I'm sure the Chris and Wayne Show mayhem will follow through.
Brian from Into the Afterlife is going to be there as well.
I will be there, yes.
Are you going to set up a table, Brian?
I will have a table there,
Oh,
yes.
fantastic. Your new book and all your artwork?
Yes.
Awesome. So it's going to be one hell of an event next Saturday. It's going to be a busy weekend for us, Wayne.
Yeah, it is going to be an extremely busy weekend for us. Yes, unfortunately, I'll miss some of the fun, but do we have any more questions?
Who do we got in the chat room with us right now, Joe?
A lot of guests again, but Kelly is in the chat room, and she has a shout out to the Danhausens. I don't know if you know who Kelly is. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, she wrote a very nice little thing saying that she's not on a team. She's just a follower and fan, and enjoyed meeting many people with the same common interest and goals. And she wanted to thank the Danhausens. She loves that everyone gets together to talk, to share. She looks forward to meeting more people in the future and taking part in more events. Michigan is the place to be for paranormal, and that she's glad to be a part of it. All the folks here tonight and many others, she says, we rock.
Well, thank you very much. You know, and actually, for somebody who's not on a team, for something to say that about all the teams here, I mean, that means a lot. It means we're doing something right, I think. And with that, it also kind of shows the importance. There was a period of time, and I think we've all witnessed that in our history, where events were kind of frowned upon at one point in time. They were kind of looked down upon, was, oh, they're just doing events. But I think events are a very important aspect of the paranormal community. It's something that does bring a lot of us together. It brings people who don't know where else to go to be able to find us and talk to us and possibly join us in our search for the unknown.
Paranormal Misfits.
Yeah, the Paranormal Misfits. It's somewhere where you can go, and we've had people tell us that they're able to come somewhere and feel like they're not being judged, feel like they can talk about what they want to talk about without being looked down upon or like they're crazy. And it's a welcoming feeling to those individuals, and I think that's an awesome thing. So we do have a lot of events going on in this state, and we reach out to a lot of people. So I think that's awesome. Terry?
The first Michigan Paranormal Gathering last year, I think my favorite part is we had so many people show up just out of the blue, and I got to meet so many people. But I think my favorite part is one woman showed up, and she was just looking around kind of lost, so I went up and introduced myself, and I asked her, you with a team? And she said, no, actually, came here because I was looking for some help from somebody. I said, boy, did you come to the right place. So, I mean, it was a great opportunity for her. She got to sit down and talk to people and get some help with what she was having. And, I mean, it was also a great opportunity for everybody to meet. And, at the events that everybody throws, we all get together and meet new people all the time and talk about things. It is a wonderful experience here in Michigan.
Now speaking of events, I'd like to bring Mr. Mark Oritz up here. With that, we've got a lot of things. If you want anything paranormal in the state of Michigan, there are so many things going on between us and the USS Edson. We've got stuff going on at the Howell Opera House. Mark Oritz and the Whitney. Tim, the Old Mill, which by far is a fantastic thing. Not only do you do the hunts up there, you also have the Old Mill Parafest, a great way to close off the season. Tim? Yeah, he's kind of just sitting there. The segue, Tim, the segue.
Yeah, the Old Mill Parafest is a fundraiser for the Old Mill Museum. We also do ghost hunts throughout the year, and public and private. But it was an idea just to get teams together, and same as that when we did the paranormal picnic. But this year we'll have Grant Wilson. Jeff Bellinger, Chris Williams is back by popular demand. So is John Zaffis, and but we got a couple of newcomers, some new people, and so it'll be a good time. Got the convention and the ghost hunt after.
Sweet. And also, there's one thing, Ken, I didn't talk about your event because, some of the details are still in the works. So why don't you go ahead and mention your event here?
Well, Portal is, for the second year in a row, going to be having public ghost hunts at the Howell Historic Theater just down the street from the Opera House. We're going to kick those off starting October 16th, and it'll go every weekend. Times vary, but it'll go every weekend all the way through November 7th. Awesome. Tickets are not very expensive. You can watch our website for details, and we'll be putting some of those details up really quick because we just made it finalized.
I also wanted to announce a first-time event this year. Plainwell, Michigan, just a little north of Grand Rapids area. The city of Plainwell contacted us this year, and October 24th, they're having us come out to host a haunted history tour of the city. So we will be doing a presentation on October 24th at 4 o'clock, and then at 7 o'clock, we're going to begin a haunted history tour.
Just kind of off paranormal topic, just a professional type topic. I think it's amazing that we do get out there and we are able to put on these presentations and do public speakings and things like that. And I want everybody to realize that when you're out there in quote unquote the real world, to utilize those skills and to utilize what you've learned doing this, because it does transfer over. It does. When you're out there public speaking and putting these presentations together, follow that up at work. They might not know you have those skills, and that can lead to other things. So just one of those little transitional type things. We all do so much in this field, and these the first ever call I ever had for a reference, and I talked paranormal with these people, and it was one of those. It was okay. That's kind of cool. I'm able to use this in that field, so it's interesting. Yeah, it could, but.
Well, and it's also an amazing thing. The great part about it is all the sites here within the state of Michigan have a historical relevance. And all these events that everybody's doing, from Christy to you, Keith, we're all doing what we can to preserve our state's history. We're bringing people in there. They may come in for the ghost, but when we see that little glimmer in their eye, I remember one of the proudest moments I ever had at Historic Fort Wayne, the first ghost tour I ever gave there. You can see that glimmer in their eye that they just want to know that much more about the history. Then you see them at the next event where you're part of the Historical Foundation. Tim, you've probably seen this at the Old Mill. And it's just such an amazing thing. And, once again, and I've said it before, that brings these people into part of the legacy. Each and every one of you are part of the legacy, and each and everybody that we bring into that is part of the legacy, and it just helps. It's something to be extremely proud of.
I honestly believe that the paranormal community is capable of doing far greater things than we've done so far. We can talk off the show, and I can tell you guys what you guys have done just for the historical places that we've worked with. It's amazing stuff that we've done when we've got together. So it's I don't want to sit and act like I'm patting everybody on the shoulder, but I am.
I will.
Because it is amazing stuff. It's amazing what a small group of misfits can do when they get together.
Well, we called you all misfits, by the way.
We were considered misfits. Exactly, but it's one of those that when we put our minds to it, and when we do come together, we can do amazing things, and I think that's awesome.
And that's a message that the rest of the paranormal community around the world has to grab. Is that work with your brothers and sisters, and let's make something happen.
Well, and work right. Even a team, even just one team can make a huge difference in a location, or helping a historical society, or things of that nature, and also helping the homeowners and things that you do. Oh, one second, here, Candace.
I'm going to add to yours. Also, Candy, again, being the person from the Royal Oak Historical Commission, I'm the chairman, I can actually tell you how much of a difference it's made at the Star House. We have had more people just come there for the historical tour and then show up for the paranormal tour. And that happened in the last few hunts that we've had. But it's been amazing, and to see the turnout and the genuine interest that now the city has in that house.
Well, amazing. We've got Brian Danhausen here, who you guys lead that tour. I want to talk a little bit about that for a second.
Yeah, we actually have one left. It is sold out. It's October 24th.
Awesome.
We will have future dates for the Northwood Firehouse, which we'll also raise money for. We're still in talks for dates for that, but once we get them, they'll be posted.
And a lot of us, like the historical village that you're going out to, a lot of the historical places that we go to, we've seen it where people didn't really know about the historical location and come to the ghost hunts and then turn around and you see them during the day there for the historical aspect of things. So that's the cool part. Or you have people who come to the ghost hunts that all of a sudden, boom, they're members of that historical society and standing right beside you helping work on these locations. That's really awesome.
I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in the middle of like the locations that we've been, and it's like 4:00 in the morning and I'm talking to people about history. You know, it's like, well, yeah, either this gun was used for this or this location was used for this, and then it's, well, did we even talk about ghosts? Nope, not at all. And that's an amazing thing. Once said, with all the history that's dying across the world, us as Americans are the only ones that actually destroy our history. Everybody else celebrates it. So what the paranormal community is doing is helping to save that. And that's something to be goddamn proud of, guys. Amen. So give yourself a big hand. Now, let's get, Joe, before we proceed, do we have any questions in the chat room?
Grape NyQuil is being talked about.
So that's what's in this glass.
Is that what they're talking about?
We should have grape NyQuil because Miss has now changed her name to Misfit Plague in the chat room, and we all hate the taste of NyQuil, so she was wishing there was grape.
Well, I'd like to bring another hot button topic in here, and having you, Christy Robinette, you're one of my trusted friends and compatriots for many years here, and
I still remember the first time we ever publicly spoke about what we do was at your event.
The Spirit and Light Festival down in Warren, Michigan. Yep, you and Amy.
It's amazing how much Chris and I have aged look-wise throughout those years. Great. And she looks the same.
Yeah, she's
Chris and I are like old men. Christy still looks fabulous.
Exactly. But no, I would like to ask everybody's opinion in the room is exactly where do psychic sensitives, empaths, anything else, along that nature fit into investigation technique? Now, here on the Chris and Wayne Show, you all know that we do not condemn anything. In our opinion, there is no book that states or rules that states how we should investigate, how we should set up teams and everything else like that. It's all open for interpretation. Now, Christy, I've seen you do amazing things. And that's the only way I can say it. Just truly and 100% amazing. I've been in there with your gallery readings and everything else, and you are one of my trusted friends and compatriots, so I have no question of your ability. But I'd like your opinion on this subject because I'm sure you get hit with ridicule a lot. She's just kind of yes.
Voice. No, I'm teasing you. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. I think that it depends how you utilize a sensitive in a paranormal situation. Sometimes, and I'll tell you how I do it because I think it's a little bit different. I don't want to know anything. I love you guys, but I don't want to go in for the beforehand. I want to give you my impressions, hand it to you on a piece of paper and say, all right, you guys stay the night. I've given you the hot spots and kind of what I think that's going on. And then my piece of it is to help the spirits along with the homeowners if there actually is something that needs to be assisted.
And with that, I mean, that's kind of exactly whenever we use them, and we have used psychics and sensitives in our investigations, and we had to learn this technically because a lot of them are very strong personalities, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times when you walk in with a psychic or sensitive, if they hit the homeowner first, that's it. Investigation over.
It's completely gone.
So
yeah.
What we've learned is, one, we don't ever tell them where we're going. We drive them there.
Blindfolded.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Well, almost blindfolded, but we drive them there.
Locked in the
yes.
trunk.
And I guess that's one of the things that has taught me that there is something out there. I'm not going to lie. I was one of those people that kind of always thought there was nothing to it. It was, cold reading somebody or hot
and you know
reading
what? And I actually think that most everybody in this room is probably sensitive. So, and I think that that's one of the reasons why we are doing what we're doing. It's not because of the title of psychic or medium. It's because, one, we're empathic, we're feeling the energy, and two, we want to help, right?
Right. So it's one of those that we were driving down a road, and this lady told the one we were working with told us something that Chris and I, we almost crapped our pants because we know she couldn't know what it was about. It was about a room in the house and the colors of the walls, which were purple and gold. How many people have purple and gold rooms in their house? Okay, a couple of people do. But
it was pretty sick wallpaper, man.
And the lady had a Chihuahua, and she mentioned a really small dog. And Chris and I, and we've told her nothing, and we're kind of looking at her going, okay. We're looking at each other, and that's when the light clicks. Okay, there's got to be something to this. And so, but we did learn that when we go in and use a psychic or sensitive, we do want them to communicate with the client, but it's usually, okay, what's going to happen? We're going to come in. We're going to do our investigation. She's going to walk through, and at the end of it is when you're going to meet.
Yeah,
the
they
client.
think they get this free reading when you bring in this. They really do. When you bring in the psychic, and all of a sudden they've taken over. It's got to be done, no pun intended, sensitively. To bring in a psychic to do this, it really does. And I think I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. So my industry is riddled with a lot of frauds. So it is also being careful that you know who you are dealing with, and they're not just trying to build their resume up or try to, pat themselves on the back.
Well, first off, Christy, I want to give you a big, round of applause for that, for the simple reason being is that you are the abnormally normal psychic. And with that, like you said, it took a lot of courage for you in your industry to say that, hey, there are a lot of frauds. And that the psychics do tend to lead investigations. And like I said, one of the most normal sensitives that I've ever known is you out there in the field. So, guys, anywhere in the room, if you ever feel like you need to contact Christy for such a thing, please. She's the only one that I personally.
It's $100 an hour. No, I'm just
trust, yeah. I take Visa, MasterCard, and Discover.
Personal check is great.
Now, we've got some great collective minds here that this is a giant question. Why don't we start off with Ken Szyminski from Portal Paranormal to chime in on this subject?
Well, if you had asked me about this subject, how long? 3 years? About 2.5, 3 years ago, I would probably have a completely different opinion.
I agree.
About that time, we investigated a house in Howell that my investigator to my right lives in. It was a very active house, and it turned out over some time she began to come to me with details about cases that we had just gotten that she did not know about, that no one had talked to her about. And over the first couple of cases, I just kind of thought it was weird. And because my opinion had always been, you know what, I'm not going to risk the reputation of my team or my own personal reputation on somebody who may or may not be, a fraud.
That is a very valid point.
So what I did was I just kept listening to her, and over time, she would tell us things about cases that there is no earthly way, there is absolutely no way she would know. She should know. There's no way she could have looked it up on the internet. There's no way she could have contacted the client. She didn't know them. And I'm just really glad she joined our team because she has given us insight into some of the cases where we've then approached the client and in a roundabout, not direct way found out, not only confirmed what she said, but found out further details that help with the cases.
That's awesome. Good. Way to go.
And she does not like to be called a psychic. She calls, we have to refer to her, at least on the website she does, but we have to refer to her as our sidekick.
I don't like the term psychic either, to be perfectly honest. But I think that investigators that have a sensitive on staff, so to speak, I think that, again, those that are investigating are helping the homeowner, and the sensitive is helping the spirit.
We're working on a case right now that because of, well, I can't talk too much about it because it's not a really great case, but because of Tina, we found out really quick that it was related to two other cases that we had that are 4.5 hours away. And all the parties know each other, and there's just some strange stuff going on. So it was really incredible. We've confirmed it. I mean, so it's really a blessing to us to have someone of this quality on our team.
That's great. Very cool. Rick?
Yeah, I guess so. Can you hold on? Thank you. Yeah, the Howell Opera House. All right. The Howell Opera House. I live in Howell myself. Pretty close to it, and I tried to get in there like 3 years ago, and I got no answer back whatsoever. But my question is to you is, how much access to the Opera House will we have if we decide to go?
Not a lot, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
The Opera House is in really, really bad shape. The theater part of it is unsafe. So it's not that they're disallowing us to go to it. It's that it needs renovations, and it needs renovations quick. So they're allowing us into the theater, but we can only do main floor of the theater. We're not allowed stage or up into the higher part of it. We're pretty much, the other parts of it, and I will tell you, I found the most active part of the Howell Opera House is outside. The whole town is active.
Wow.
So you can pretty much go walk around, especially the chapel that's across the street from it. You can walk outside and get some awesome, feelings and evidence and EVPs. And I don't know, you probably
that's
can
crazy.
say the same
that's
thing.
awesome.
The Chinese restaurant and the Chinese restaurant and the Uptown Coffee House are both hotspots.
The winery.
Somebody say winery?
The winery.
What?
Yeah, you can keep
The
going.
winery has several spirits in it.
Thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome. There are tickets still available, so and it's a pretty small group. So if you're interested, and plus you get a seance, dun dun dun.
And if you've never seen an actual seance, and you're going to bring the Table of Doom.
What, man? I'm looking at the camera.
Yes, the
Oh,
Table
wow,
of
I got an
Doom.
extreme close-up going on here for those in Periscope. At least I
Boy,
pulled
the
my
Table
nose
of
hair
Doom
out.
has no magnets. I did a Halloween event, and I use it. It's those old wooden TV tables. The old that's what I use. That's all I use for it because it's lighter and it can levitate and it can move, and it's really awesome. I had one person completely get mad at me because she was sure that I had done some Houdini trick with it because it was dancing, it was levitating. I'm like, seriously.
Christy, if there's anybody in this room that I think could make that happen, it would be you.
It's
For
the
sure.
spirits. It's not me. Come on now.
I have a topic shift question. How many people in here have actually dealt with animals when we're doing investigations and an animal's been affected by something? A lot of people out there, they'll tell us that their dog or their cat sees something in the corner, and there's so many times that our investigations are brought on by animal activity that's coincided with some activity that starts in the house. And I was just wondering what everybody's thoughts in this room were on something like that.
Well, first off, Toby, the question has to be asked, do we believe that animals have an afterlife? Therefore, they have to have a soul, to go into it. Now, Terry, I'm going to share something that, around my house, I lost my beloved dog, Max, a year and a half ago. And to this day, I still sense his presence in the house, and I kind of see him out of the corner of my eyes every now and then. So do I believe that animal spirits can exist? Absolutely. Do I believe their brethren can see them? Absolutely. Why not? We don't understand necessarily how our own eyes work, so how can we say that an animal's eyes work the same way ours do?
As far as animal spirits, I would have to agree to some extent. You guys are going to make me cry here, probably. But
I've heard this story. It's amazing.
My first dog, Tricky, because I was going to teach him a lot of tricks, and he never learned any. But he was a badass dog, man.
Kind of like you.
Yeah. He was a fox terrier. Looked like a baby Doberman. They would look like miniature Doberman Pinscher. Saved my butt. I can't tell you how many times from getting jumped or beat up walking down the street. Cool dog. And still to this day, I had to put him down when I was 17. I skipped school so I could go up and say goodbye. But still to this day, he shows up every once in a while in my dreams, and we hang out, and I know it's him. And I talk to him like he's deceased because I know he's not with me anymore. But he shows up usually once, twice every couple of years, and we hang out. Awesome.
Terry?
One of my previous jobs I worked at, I was working with somebody, and I hadn't really told him what I do here, and until one day he was telling me about how he had this dog he had for years that used to just hang out on the front porch. And his dog had just died. And he was really upset about that. And a couple days later, one of his friends came over and came into the house and said, "What's up with your dog?" Because the dog had always jumped off the front porch and run up and greeted him every time he got out of his car. And the guy's like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Well, he got off the front porch and ran around back and took off." And his dog had died a couple days before, but his friend had seen the dog on the porch when he pulled up. So we got into this big talk about spirits and animal spirits, and he just couldn't believe that had happened. And I said, yes, it can happen.
Well, if you have to take a look at it, Native Americans, the first people to settle on this country, they actually believed extremely heavily in totems, which were animal spirits. So could that be an attachment to that? And you got to look at, we treat most animals nowadays like we do human beings.
I think we kind of got off topic a little bit, Toby, because you were asking if we think that animals can sense the spirits, correct?
I wanted to add to that because before I even started being in the paranormal group, my father passed away Christmas Day at my home, 2004. 3 days after he passed, I was sitting on the couch getting ready to, handle all of his funeral and whatnot, and my dog was sitting on the couch with me. Molly, those that do remember her, she was a three-legged mutt. She leapt off my couch and stood at the wall and insanely barked for a good 30, 40 seconds. She turned around, came back with her tail underneath her legs, and then all of a sudden she started to wag her tail, and she crept across the floor towards the wall. I know without a doubt she saw my dad, without a doubt. And to me, that shows that actually kind of helped perk my interest, get me more into the field. What was she seeing? Who was she seeing? I mean, I knew that was my dad.
Well, and to add to what Joe had said, if you take an animal and you put it into an environment where a suspected haunting, apparition sighting might have taken place, a lot of animals will go ahead and go to that place, stay to that place, whether it be a fear reaction or whether it be a positive reaction, such as Joe's, where the tail would wag. But now, am I saying that necessarily a cat staring at the ceiling or at a refrigerator, all night long is that a haunting? No, I'm just saying that animal reactions do sometimes coincide with a lot of the evidence that we do collect.
Well, I think. Go ahead.
Okay, so I moved into an active house. We didn't know it was active. I have an 80-pound poodle and an 8-pound chihuahua. They'd be sleeping in two different rooms, and all of a sudden they'd both wake up and go dart off to the kitchen and sit there and bark like crazy. I have it on video, both of them coming from two different rooms, going to the kitchen, sitting side by side, and when I tried to walk to the kitchen, my poodle would stand up and growl and push me backwards, so I couldn't enter the kitchen.
Now, I do have to think that animals, too, I think they're sensitive to some of the things that may be harmful to us that we can't notice. We've had cases where one of the claims was the daughter would go in and watch into the same area of the room and stare at this area. Well, the animal would come in and stare at this area too. Yeah, we've got an animal out there trying to.
It's funny because we're talking about animal ghosts, and all of a sudden it's like Mark's dog is going completely bananas.
But what we learned is that area had an unshielded and an extremely high EMF field in that area. It buried the EMF reader, off the charts. So once they removed that, the animal and the child stopped reacting to it. So I think maybe they're trying to tell us something like, hey, something's not right over here. Maybe you should check it out.
Well, I don't know. Rod's pointing at me for some. Oh, he won't. Oh, okay. I was like, he wants to say something. Okay. Yeah, it's on you now, Rod.
I lived in a house for a while. I never had any activity in the house except for the fact that one of my dogs was terrified of the refrigerator. To get to the door where she went outside, she had to go past the refrigerator, and she would come in and she would stop before she got to the refrigerator, and she would stare at it and sometimes even whimper, and then she would literally drag her side across the cabinets on the other side of the kitchen to stay as far away from it as possible while she bolted past it to run into the next room. I don't know why she was afraid of the refrigerator. Just thought that was interesting.
I do want to add
a possible electromagnetic field variation.
Could be.
It could have
I
been
do
in
want,
there?
yeah, I do want to add, since, my dad has passed, I've had 5 cats in my house and another dog, and they've all reacted very similarly at different intervals throughout the time that we've been in the home. So,
See, I've had several different occasions where the dog that I had rescued, we've had him for 4 years now, and when we first got him, he didn't really chew on bones all that much, and I'd throw him one of the bones, and he'd kind of chew on it a little bit, and he had gone outside, and I had my favorite dog buried out front, and he went over by the grave, and he was just kind of snooping around the grave a little bit, and then he came back inside, and he started chewing on the bone, and my old dog would chew on a bone, and you knew it was him chewing on it because the bone was always standing straight up. He would leave the bone standing straight up every time he chewed on it. Didn't matter where he was at, it was always standing up. And he walked back inside, and he started chewing on it, and I watched him, and I just kind of turned around a little bit, and then all of a sudden the bone is just standing straight up, and he'd never done that before. And I just thought that was kind of, just a cool little thing that maybe my old dog had done that just to say, hey, I'm still around, I'm still looking. It could be just mere coincidence, but now he does it all the time. And for a dog to change it, the old dog and the new trick kind of thing, it just to me kind of seemed like it was a little bit odd that he would actually just change his behavior after snooping around the other dog's grave. And I thought that was kind of cool. But I had an experience in my house where I was sitting on the couch and both my dogs were laying in front of me, and I heard a whisper, which was my name, in my ear. And both my dogs looked right up at me, but they didn't look at me. They looked at what was ever behind me, and it was above my head. And they just kind of stood there. Their hair didn't stand up. Nothing happened. They just stared. And I'm like, all right, who the hell's in my house? So I just kind of sat there for a minute waiting for somebody, they're going to scare me. And then I watched my dogs just kind of follow something from my living room into my kitchen with their eyes. And then I turned back real quick, and I didn't see anything. And I don't know, just like little things like that. I think animals are sensitive to seeing things, because I have had 2 different dogs, bred differently, raised differently, all that other stuff, and I think they can kind of see things and communicate. And I just wanted to bring up that topic to see if anybody ever actually had any experiences or what their belief systems were on it.
Well, I think we got one more comment on the situation from Kevin here from D-Town, and then we got a couple of questions.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to piggyback on, I don't remember who was saying about the dogs protecting them from the kitchen, but when I lived in Detroit and I was younger, we had a couple of dogs, and they would never go near the basement area, which was weird because we've had a couple of people go in to try to fix certain things in the basement. They would leave and never come back. I mean, we would never receive a bill, anything like that. Well, one of the dogs happened to pass away, and as I was younger, I would have certain dreams about that area, and after the dog had passed away, I seen that same dog in the dream guarding that same spot. So I just thought that was kind of weird.
All right, and we've got Terry.
Yeah, we hear a lot from clients who say that their dogs or their cats see things, and they'll watch a spot on the wall, they'll watch the ceiling and be following something. And I thought it was interesting. I saw not too long ago, I was reading CNN Online, the science section, and they had an article about how cats vision. And cats can see a lot more into the ultraviolet spectrum than humans can. And they actually had comparison photos of what we would see in the dark and what cats would see in the dark. And for cats, it's almost like daylight. They can see a lot more than we can. So it is very possible that they are seeing things, animals, that we are not. And if you read this, and this is an actual scientific study, there is a possibility they are seeing things there that we are not seeing. We cannot disregard that.
I wonder if that ties the whole legends and urban stories of cats being with witches, and because they do see more than what we do.
On top of that, and Chris, you've probably read this too, Chris Bailey from Grimstone, scientists always call on you. We got to just kind of, mentioning it here, that we talk about the entire interdimensional theory, the multiple dimensions, that comes into too. We're not only talking about them seeing different spectrums, we're seeing them talking into different dimensions, not only past a third dimension. of what we see.
We have discussed that a little bit, and it's a possibility. I mean, animals see things differently than we do. They hear things differently than they do. We like to personalize what we experience, and we think our pets are experiencing the same, but they're seeing things differently. They're hearing things differently. They're smelling things far more sensitive to us.
Heightened senses.
Yes. So what we might take as paranormal might be just a normal noise of the refrigerator, whirring, or it could be something truly haunting in your house, leaving that you just don't know and won't see coming until it might be too late.
Or the cat seeing the demon.
The cat.
All right, Joe, we got a couple of questions in the chat room.
I apologize, Jeremy. I'm going to skip you for a second because Indy Duane actually has something that kind of toggles off to what we've been speaking about. Indy Duane asks, if you have loved ones' remains at home, how common is it to notice the paranormal?
That's an interesting question where you actually have a physical artifact of one that's departed.
I have my dad and my mom and my sister in my home.
We just actually talked about Disney and talked about all of the hauntings and things in the last episode. And you talk about all the amount of ashes that have been scattered throughout the park. To me, that would be like the ultimate haunted spot.
I know, I intrinsically know that my family is with me. I mean, I feel them. I see them out of the corner of my eye. I know exactly when they're in the home.
But can I ask you a question?
They're not there all the time, though.
Is that related to the remains, or is that related because they love you?
I think for me, it's because they love me.
Right.
I don't think it's because of the remains. No.
I would like to think that, this is just my own personal belief, hopefully, that this is true, is once you go, you're not tied to those remains. You can, that's just, like they say, this is the shell that you used while you were here.
Right.
And now you're gone. The whole thing with graveyards, and one of the reasons why, I don't necessarily go out and investigate graveyards is, who wants to go hang around in a graveyard once you're passed? It's like, no. I know. To be stuck in this little 6-foot plot of land for the remainder of your days, no, I hope that's not the case.
Well, it's funny because I just brought of all you've read Facebook, I just lost my cat of 16 and a half years, and I had her cremated, and I brought her home, and she had opposable thumbs. She was a cat with five toes, and she was the only one in the house that could open things. And my closet door, she always used to open my closet door. And
well, she was the only cat with an evil agenda, in my opinion.
She did have an evil agenda. She basically plotted my demise every night. But anyways, it was funny because I brought her home on Wednesday when I finally picked up her remains. Thursday morning I got up and my closet door was open, and none of the other animals can do that. So, do I feel it? Yes, I do. I think she's back in the home. And because of the remains? That I don't know. Or did she come back because that's where she was her home? I don't know.
I think if you have a family remains in your home, it would obviously be somebody that you cared about, usually somebody you love. So maybe it's not the remains; it's just them coming back and.
I actually get an awful lot of calls from funeral homes, and most of the time it's because they have cremated remains. You cannot destroy that. It is Michigan law, and they have activity in the home, and typically I will go, I'm drawn right to the location to a cabinet, and they say, oh, yep, that's where all of the remains are that people didn't pick up, and there's a lot. So sometimes there's a little bit of a darker, piece to that too, because they're pissed.
So yeah, they're kind of just hanging out, waiting for their loved one to close the book. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily like they're sitting there in a waiting room, you're going, all right, when is my mom gonna pick me up? But I do think that there could even be a residual energy that's attached to it.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. No. I'm Lee from R. I'm Lee. I'm with MSPI and stuff. My mom has a lot of paranormal activity that happens to her in her house. I have not yet had anything, happen to me. Few people have come over, seen a shadow walk up the steps. We already know who that is. That is my father. He passed away in the house. Now, my dad, when he passed away, you know, my mom received the American flag and everything because he was a veteran. But every now and then, that flag will just be sitting there and it'll get knocked over. And there's nothing there, you know, to knock it over. The cat don't get up there to knock it over. You'll just hear it, bap, just fall right over. So I do believe, you know, if you do have the remains of people in your house, you know, that they're still there.
I agree.
I believe it.
I think it helps for me. I mean, I think because the remains are there, and I know that they come to see me, but I think it's a combination of it. So,
well, once again, if you're measuring a haunting from the part of an energy situation, you're putting a lot of psychic energy, and people go, "Oh, psychic! Oh, I'm not psychic at all." No, you're taking emotional energy and you're transferring it into this one sole reminder of a person, i.e., the flag. Okay, not only are you thinking of this, you know, this is a family member, but this is, you know, patriotic and everything else and all the energy that's associated with that. Therefore, it's going to be a constant reminder. Therefore, we have to look at the whole thing and go, okay, well, could this be something that's bringing this person back? Kind of like a tag or a trigger itself.
Yeah, I believe that. I agree with you 100% on that.
Well, I think we got time for one more question.
and we do. It's a good one, and I think it'll tie in the last part of the evening. It's Jeremy. He's bringing up some good ones tonight. Jeremy from D-Town. He says it's a basic question, but with all the new equipment that's out there and available, what equipment does everyone prefer to use, and what is the equipment you get the most evidence from?
Well, I think just me personally, I would have to say probably an audio recorder would be my favorite. I'm not a heavy equipment type individual. I don't like to take myself out of the surrounding. I don't like to focus on this piece of equipment. I'd rather sit around and look around my surroundings and pay attention to what's going on around me. Because, you know, after you do it so long, it is one of those that, yeah, the evidence is nice, but honestly, it's a personal experience. It's a personal journey for me. So it's one of those, if I'm paying attention to this equipment, I might miss out on something going on over here to my left or to my right. I would, you know, so me, I'd just say just set the recorder down, let it run, do its thing, and I can pay attention to what's going on.
I remember a time, and there's a lot of people, and I consider paranormal investigation an evolution. There was a lot of time when I first got into this, it was about every piece of equipment that I could have that had dials and meters and lights and everything else like that. There was a time where I would honestly sit here in front of each and every one of you in this room and go, I would trust my equipment over my own personal senses. Nowadays, when I sit back in there and look at how unexplained and how uncontrolled the environment is that we supposedly study, I look at my own personal experiences as the gauge. Because Ken might see a ghost, Jason might see a ghost, but I might not see one. Does that mean that it's not real? So therefore, we have to take that into account as well. Our own personal experiences, and that's the one thing that most people discount, is your own personal experience and your own gut feeling. When you walk into a place and you go, oh my God, heebie-jeebies, man, something might be going on.
Chris, are you saying that you're a big tool?
Well, Ken, I guess I am a tool, yes. So we had Rick.
Yeah, he's keeping in line. Good for you.
He's the only one that's following the rules tonight.
Concerning equipment, probably the audio is my favorite because I seem to get the best evidence from that. I've just recently purchased an SLS camera, structured light sensor, and I actually haven't had much luck on that yet. But it's still in the process of learning it and everything.
Well, you know, looking at equipment, we actually have got, once again, I'm going to bring Chris Bailey to the front. One of the, in my personal opinion, he designs his own equipment. Unlike the rest of us, we go to like Amazon and buy it. He's the one that makes this stuff. Chris, what's your opinions on the subject?
Well, I've always been very questionable about a lot of the things that come out lately since, you know, the paranormal media has gone up, a lot of new equipment's going out there, and even things on like iPhone apps and so forth. And I've always kind of questioned what really makes them work and what's behind it. And being the scientist guy, we starting to develop our own working equipment, whether it's EMF meters or whatnot. In fact, our group just got a 3D printer over the weekend. They might not know that yet. And we're trying to develop what's best based on science and, really works for the paranormal investigator, because before that, we've borrowed a lot. Oh, an EMF detector works for electricians. Let's give it a go. Let's see how it works. The voice recorders and other things. And some of the stuff is great, and some of the things have the features we like and the others that we kind of wish we had. And I'm trying to listen to what everyone has out there and would love to see, and trying to make things that work best for us.
You need to develop a switchless flashlight and put that whole, the whole mag light thing to rest.
Hold on a second. Ken, you had something to offer in regards to flashlights.
Yeah. I'm telling Chris he needs to develop a switchless flashlight that's not made of aluminum so that we can put the whole mag light thing to rest.
Once again, the whole Maglite situation kind of, I'm looking around the room and everybody's going, yeah, and some people are going, no. Interesting. Kevin, you have something to throw in on this?
Yeah, I'm actually one of the people that like to actually go in and experience without equipment. But
Awesome.
If I have to choose a piece of equipment, I would say something along the lines of an EM pump or something along the lines of that, because essentially they say it's energy, and they say spirits are energy. So if you increase the energy in the area, more things could happen, and which I have had happen to a couple of cases. So that is my favorite.
Like thunderstorms and stuff like that would help.
Oh yeah.
All right, we had a question over here, Toby.
Keith.
Oh no, actually, I just wanted to comment on that too. There's a lot of great pieces of, there's a lot of great tools out there that we all use, and my favorite is the audio because of one aspect, which is how great is it that you're catching a voice that should not even be there. And one of those that I wanted to talk about was we had a recent chance to go to Tella, Trans-Allegheny. And while we were there, it was just three of us guys on the fourth floor, and we picked up a female's voice saying, "Thanks for bringing me." And it was just the coolest thing because we didn't have any females with us. And to me, that's really cool when you get something out of, that's not supposed to be there, and you're not using anything more than just a digital recorder.
I would have to say probably throughout most of the investigations, audio is probably the biggest thing that records any kind of data. I know pictures and video are very rare and hard to come by, so I would have to say audio is probably the biggest one.
Oh, yeah. For Martyr, I know audio has been our biggest thing. We've gotten tons of EVPs, some of them absolutely amazing, some of them you listen. I mean, you can't judge an investigation that night. It could seem dead, but later on when you're listening to the audio, there's some things that'll just send you shooting off the couch. So that's been our most reliable piece of equipment. For favorite, I know for Mark it'll be whatever the latest and greatest thing is that he found or thought up and made up to experiment with. That's going to be his favorite for the night. But audio has definitely been our most reliable.
Down at Paranormal, we basically like to use anything that makes noise that we don't have to physically look at. Anything that can make noise, like a K2 meter that makes noise, whatever we can, where we don't have to physically look at it, but we can hear it if it goes off, because that keeps our eyes peeled upon everything else and not staring at equipment the whole time. So,
and I couldn't agree with that more. But unfortunately, guys, we're out of time. I'm sitting around here with 15 of the most awesome paranormal investigation teams and minds in the community, as far as I'm concerned. Such a great episode tonight. Wouldn't you agree, Wayne?
I wholeheartedly agree. 2 hours went by way super fast. Maybe we need to up it next time.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we were
let's pull an all-nighter sometime.
This could be like a 6-hour episode.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, the paranormal pajama party.
There's just so many aspects. I could tell that looking around everybody, sometimes it's hard to grab questions, but I could tell everybody's thinking around this room, and that's an amazing and a magical thing.
No, it's definitely been a blast. Number one was a great time. This one's been awesome. I'm sure once we turn off the button here, things are going to get a little crazy. I hope everybody does hang out for a little bit. We definitely need to get a big group photo before everybody leaves.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the Chris and Wayne Show and me personally, for you guys spending and devoting your evening to us here tonight and trying to change the paranormal world, not only across here in the state of Michigan, but across the world. Let's give everybody out there in the world a big hand. Each and every one of you are amazing of individuals. But guys,
and in closing, I do want to give a shout out to those that are in the chat room listening, to those that cannot be here, and those that are listening to other states. Again, spread the word, get it out there, be the forefront, and go out there and meet other teams and start the conversations.
Take tonight. Here in Michigan, I'm going to give a big shout out to all the paranormal teams in Michigan. You guys are actually making paranormal unity a reality. Take this across the world to all of our listeners and let them know that working together, we can come across our common goals.
I agree. Thank you, everybody.
You guys have a great night, and we will see you next week.
I'm Chris. I'm Wayne.
I'm Joe.
I am Todd.
Now go away or I shall taunt you a second time. That's all, folks. Well, let me stand. Can't you see?